who are here now, and hopefully those who are joining later or those who are actually watching this live YouTube, we all pay very much attention. And at the end, we're all going to be richly spiritually nourished. So we thank you, Prabhuji. So you may take it over from here. Hare Krishna.
Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, welcome, my dear devotees. At this moment of time, I am sitting in the middle of the Himalayan mountains at the bank of Bhagirathi Ganga River, as it is my usual summer retreat in the mountains. So on the 7th of January 2025, we had our first lecture on this subject, different kinds of gopis in Vrindavan. We had part 1 on 7th January, and today we are having part 2. In the part 1 lecture, we discussed about Mithila Vasini gopis, the gopis who were the young girls in Mithila, the hometown of Mother Sita. Then we discussed about the gopis who came from Kausalya's hometown. Kausalya is the mother of Lord Ram. She hailed from Kosal country. So they are called as Kosal Vasini gopis. Then we discussed about Ayodhya Vasini gopis, the young girls from Ayodhya itself. And then we discussed about those self-realized male saintly people who resided in Dandakaranya, in the forest where Lord Ramchandra was performing his exile. So they are called as Rishi Chari Gopis. So today we will try to further discuss. I was just counting. There are totally more than 20 types of gopis. And we have just covered 4. I will try to cover maximum number today. So the next type of gopis are called as Shruti Chari gopis. Shruti Chari means Vedas. Shruti means knowledge. So the Vedas also are personalities. They are considered to be demigoddesses. So one time they went to, they were feeling very sad because in the Vedas, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not directly mentioned. He is described or indicated indirectly. So all the Vedas, the personification of Vedas, they were thinking, what will be our future? How we will get delivered? So they went to Shvetadvipa. Shvetadvipa is the local Vaikuntha on a particular Brahmanda, a universe, where Kshirodakshayi Vishnu resides. Shvetadvipa is a local Vaikuntha, which is surrounded by milk ocean. So these demigoddesses who are the Vedas, They went to Shwetadvipa and performed austerities. They worshipped and glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead who was lying down in Shwetadvipa as Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. So Kshirodakshayi Vishnu laying on the Sheshanaga, the Shesha serpent, Ananta Shesha, gave darshan to him, all of them. And then these ladies who performed austerities, they desired to have darshan of Goloka Vrindavan. And out of kindness of the Lord of the Shwetadvipa gave darshan of Golok Vrindavan to all these ladies. When you see something, it doesn't happen neutrally. When you see something, there is a reaction, or there is a response, or there is an interaction. There is some difference in emotion. So when they saw Golok Vrindavan, they saw the beautiful gopis, not only bedecked with physical beauty, but they were amazingly spiritually beautiful, effulgent, and they had such devotion, and they were seen to be worshipping and serving the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna with conjugal love. Looking at that beautiful exhibition of conjugal love, these uh, ladies representing Vedas, they were very much enamored and they were impressed with the loving service that the gopis of Golok Vrindavan were offering to Krishna. So they also developed that conjugal mood for the Supreme Lord. And they said, "We want to serve you, my Lord, in the same mood as these gopis." So the Lord of Goloka Vrindavan said, when there will be a kalpa or Divya Yuga called Saraswat Divya Yuga, at that time you will become Braj Gopis. So then these gopis, they became gopis in Saraswata Kalpa. And at that time, very beautiful story is there, which we will read. So these gopis, they were very much attracted to the Supreme Lord. And the Lord said to them that you please perform your services and be happy. So they were extremely attracted by the beauty of Lord Nanda Nandana, the son of Nanda Maharaj. And they went to Vrinda Devi because when they took birth in Braj Bhumi, they got completely attracted with the beautiful Braj Krishna. Goloka Krishna is not different from Braj Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda. And they approached Vrinda Devi, who was the queen of Vrindavan, and she actually guided them. She was pleased with their prayers and worship, and she blessed them. And because of that blessing, the Lord Hari of Vrindavan Dham was very happy, and he pulled these gopis because they have already taken birth as gopis, and he performed Rastila every single day with them. One unique, beautiful pastime took place. Gopis said that the way the Chataka bird is eagerly waiting for the rains, similarly, we are also always anxious to meet you. So the Lord said, one who is already established in the heart is never separated from the beloved. So I have established you in my heart, you have established me in your heart. So there is no question of separation. Like there is sun in the sky and the lotus in the pond, they are quite far away physically. But as soon as the sun comes, the lotus flower blossoms because the lotus considers the sun to be closest to their heart, and it blossoms as soon as the sun gives darshan. So that day Krishna came late to dance with them. So the gopis, these gopis who are called as now Shruti Chari gopis, they asked the question to Krishna that why you are late today. So Krishna said, my worshipable Durvasa Muni has come to Bhandirvan. All of you know that Bhandirvan is a very famous forest, one of the most beautiful 12 forests of Vrindavan. So he said, I went to meet my worshipable Durvasa Muni, and that is why I got late. So then Sri Krishna said that you should also go and worship him and take his blessings. So the gopis said to Krishna, how can we go to Bhandirvan? Yamuna is filled with water. How do we cross Yamuna? So that time, this story is very interesting. I remember my father, when I was a small child, had told me this story. And somehow after coming to Krishna consciousness, I remembered it and I could relate to it because my father had told me when I was a child. So gopis asked Krishna, how do we cross Yamuna? So Sri Krishna said, you go to Yamuna and full with full faith, you tell Yamuna, the Brahmachari Krishna is asking for the way for us to go through you to Bhandirvan. So gopis were quite bewildered. They felt he is always with us, all the ladies dancing all the time, and how he can be calling himself a celibate. But anyway, they were very eager to go and get benediction from Durvasa Muni. So they went to Yamuna and they said, if Lord Krishna is brahmachari from childhood and if he is free from all kinds of contamination, then, O best of the river Yamuna, please give us the way. So immediately the river Yamuna gave way and there was a land in between the waters. And the gopis were in thousands of numbers and they crossed Yamuna and went to the opposite side to Bhandirvan. And then they went to meet Durvasa Muni and Durvasa Muni welcomed them. Oh, my dear ladies, saying welcome. And I'm very happy to see you. So these ladies had actually cooked hundreds of items, beautiful, tasty, sweet meats and other items, savories and everything. Thousands of items were brought. And when they met Durvasa Muni, they were eagerly saying, eat my food, eat my food, eat my items. So Durvasa Muni said, fine, I am actually a renounced personality, but I will like to fulfill your desire, although I am not attached to anything. So now what you do is I will open my mouth and you will offer all the items in my mouth. So he opened wide open his mouth and each and every gopi, thousands of them had hundreds of offerings. So they offered everything in the mouth of Durvasa Muni. And amazingly, such huge quantities and thousands of preparation, Durvasa Muni just finished in few moments. It did not take much time, only that much time which required to offer that food in his mouth. And the gopis were quite bewildered and they were looking at each other. Oh, this sadhu said that he is quite renounced and detached And look at him, the way he ate everything. So this way, that peaceful looking, quiet looking sadhu fulfilled the desires of all the gopis. And then the gopis received blessings, and then they said, now we have to go. How do we go? Yamuna is filled with water. And while we were coming, we somehow came. So the Muni, Durvasa Muni said, listen very carefully what he said. He said, you go to Yamuna and say that with Durvasa Muni, if he has never touched food, grains, or water, if he has only honored the juice of Durva grass, that is why it's called as Durvasa. Durva means the green grass, the color of Lord Ram, the grass that is used to worship Lord Ganesha. The juice of that grass, if he has only drunk the juice of Durva and not taken any grains, if he has done that austerity, please give way to all of us. So the gopis were quite surprised and they thought, just now he ate thousands of preparations made with grains, sweetmeats, savories, and everything. And he's saying, I have not eaten anything, I have only taken the juice of Durva grass. But then they wanted to cross, so they went and said, oh, the best of rivers. If Durvasa Muni has not taken any grains in his life, and if Durvasa Muni is only happy taking the juice of Durva grass, then please give us way. So the river immediately gave way, and the gopis crossed the Yamuna on the land under the Yamuna, now created because of separation of water. And sure enough, they met Krishna on the other side of Yamuna. And they were doubly bewildered because of the way they went and the way they came out of Yamuna. So they asked Krishna how it is we are having doubt in the mind that how can you be a brahmachari while you are right from childhood always moving around and dancing with us? And how Durvasa Muni can be a austere person not accepting any grains? So Sri Krishna explained to gopis that you may feel I am always with you and playing with you, but I am not attached an iota to any of you, to my friends, to my mother, father, or anybody. I am a fully detached Paramatma. But to satisfy my devotees, I do so many wonderful activities. But in my own self, I am Paramatma, the super soul, and I'm not attached to any of you. And the way people worship me, I also remember them and meditate on those devotees like you. And Durvasa Muni, oh, what to speak of Durvasa Muni? He does not eat any items, or neither he ate any of your items as the items, like savories or sweetmeats or pudi or pakoda or kheer or anything. He's accepting everything as if it is the juice of Durva grass, which is very austere and not so palatable. So he is a divine personality. He's not eating your items as the items. He's just fulfilling your desires, and for him there is no attachment or no enjoyment of your thousands of items. So thus Sri Krishna cleared the doubts of these gopis, and the gopis were now happy and they went back. So this is the story of Shruti Chari gopis, the Vedas who became gopis and performed pastimes with Radha and Krishna. The second type of gopis is the demigoddesses. Now, they are called in Sanskrit as Devangana. Devangana means the ladies of the heavenly planets. So these Devanganas, they were very, very beautiful, and there was a Prajapati called Ruchi. In his house, when he performed a fire sacrifice, Yajna Purush Narayan, Yajna Purush appeared. And the Yajna Purusha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was so attractive and so beautiful, full of opulences and full of effulgence. So these demigoddesses fell in love with the Supreme Personality of Godhead who appeared out of the fire sacrifice. And because of their attraction, they wanted to have him as their husband. And in Bhagavad Gita, there are many rishis mentioned. Asita, Devala, Vyasa, Angira. So that Devala Rishi, he instructed them that you please go and perform austerities in Himalayas. So these demigoddesses, they went to Himalayas and performed austerities. As a result of the blessings of Devala Rishi, they achieved birth in Vrindavan Dham. How? I will explain to you. In today's world, there is a place called Madhya Pradesh, state of India, and there is a place called Ujjain. So in this place, the Ujjain is the capital of the state called Malavadesh in that time. Today we call it Madhya Pradesh. So in this Malavadesh, there was a beautiful Gopa who is very much religious, whose name was Divaspati Nanda. Divaspati Nanda is the name of that Gopa. Very, very religious and highly a spiritual personality. He was one time performing pilgrimage. He had 1,000 wives. With all the 1,000 wives, he was moving around holy places. He came to Mathura. And in Mathura, he was very much attracted to the beauty and also with the personality of Nanda Maharaj. So Nanda Maharaj invited him to stay there only. So he offered him 16 square miles of land at the banks of Yamuna. And in the 16 square miles of the land at the banks of Yamuna, this particular Gopa, Divaspati Nanda, he stayed with his 1,000 wives. And he had millions of cows which he had also brought with him. With all the cows and 1,000 wives, he stayed there. And those demigoddesses who performed austerities in Himalayas, they took birth as daughters of this 1,000 wives of Devaspati Nanda. And they performed um, austerities in the month of Magha. In Indian calculation, the month of Magha is supposed to be very auspicious. Every month, every year, in the month of Magha, for 30 days, there is gathering at Triveni Sangam at Allahabad. And at Triveni city, they performed their Magha Masa Vrata, which is called as the supreme most Vrata, Paramottam, austerities and religious activities performed in the month of Magha, which is also very cold in that month. So they used to take bath in the morning and they used to sing the glories of the son of Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Nandana. So Sri Krishna became very happy with them, very pleased with them, and he said, please ask for benediction. So these gopis, who were the demigoddesses in the past life, they said, Nayana Pathagami Bhavatu Me, please always remain in our eyesight. Always, always, always bless us with your auspicious, holy, and beautiful darshan. And thus they achieved Krishna's blessings. So second type of gopis are now over, the demigoddesses who became attracted. The third type of gopis are called as Yajna Sita. Yajna Sita means all of you know that after bringing Sita from the forest, Lord Ram, he had his coronation ceremony. He became the king of Ayodhya and started ruling Ayodhya. And one day, one washerman passed some comment while he was scolding his wife, who had stayed one night out of the house of the husband. And he said, please get out of my house. I am not like Lord Ram. Lord Ram brought back Sita after she stayed one whole year, 360 days in the house of Ravana, in the kingdom of Ravan, away from Lord Ram's house. I don't know how is he accepting Sita. But I am not Lord Ram. I am not going to accept you. Please leave my house. So, to follow the principles of Raja Dharma, the duties of the king, Lord Ramchandra abandoned Sita. And then she was dropped at the ashram of Valmiki Muni. And Lord Ram was alone in Ayodhya. But Lord Ram wanted to perform fire sacrifices for the welfare of the kingdom, the kinsmen. So now, if a king who is a Grahastha has to perform any fire sacrifice, he has to have his wife next to him. Otherwise, he cannot take sankalpa of the yajna. So he said, I don't have my wife with me. So now you guide me. How can I do the yajnas? I want to do the yajnas for the welfare of my kinsmen. So Vasishtha Muni guided that we can create a murti of Sita, golden murti of Sita, and we will do prana pratishtha. We will install life in that murti, and then uh, she can be next to you on left side, and you can perform yajnas. And there are yajnas called as Ashwamedha yajna, Rajasuya yajna, Vajipeya yajna, Gomedha yajna, which would take place for years together, 2 years, 3 years, and what kind of ingredients and quantity of ingredients would be required for that, amazingly. So each time there was a golden image of Sita created, and there was a life installed in that, and Lord Ram performed many such thousands of yajnas, and each of the Sita was called as Yajna Sita. That means each Sita was created separately for the sake of each yajna. Not that the previous Sita was invited again. Every time new Sita was created and new life was installed. So there were many such ladies staying in Ayodhya. And then they all wanted to marry with Lord Ram. So Lord Ram said that, I cannot marry you because I already married one lady. I'm supposed to be Ekapatni Vrata. In this incarnation, I'm supposed to be having only one wife. So although I want to marry you, but I cannot marry you because you are different. So then, in the next incarnation, I'm going to appear as Sri Krishna in Mathura in the 28th Dwapar Yuga of Vaivasvata Manu. And that time I will fulfill your desires. You will come as Gopis and I'll marry you. I will accept you as my wife. So now there is a country called Ushinara in South India where for continuous 10 years Indra did not offer rains. Because of this uh, no rain situation, so many of them, so many people, they lost their country and they left their country and they came wandering from place to place. And then they came to Mathura district, to north side from South India. And they saw that beautiful Yamuna is flowing, lots of water, no dryness, lot of cows and beautiful place, full of greenery, no scarcity of water. So when they left the place called Ushinara country from South India and came to Mathura, they settled down there only. So when they settled down in the forest at the banks of Yamuna, those Yagyasitas were blessed by Lord Ram. They appeared in the house of those coward men. And then in the course of time, they became young. Their bodies were quite divine and attractive. And one day, Krishna came herding cows at the bank of Yamuna, and they saw him and they got very, very attracted. And they were so attracted that they wanted to have him as their husband. Their love that they had felt for Lord Ram in the previous incarnation was invoked again. So they went to Radharani. It's a very interesting story. They went to Radharani to ask her that you have won the heart of Krishna. You are Vishwa Mohini. You also attract the whole universe. Kindly guide us how to attract Krishna to us and how to have him as our husband. So Radharani said, if you want to please and attract Krishna to you, then you must perform the Ekadashi Vrata that all of us do as devotees. We follow the Ekadashi Vrata. It is not Ekadashi fasting. It is not simply uh, giving up some kind of food for one day. That is not the limitation of Ekadashi Vrata. Ekadashi Vrata is the external part of it is to give up food and drink. But the most important and subtle and internal part of Ekadashi Vrata is to remain immersed in service to Krishna, in thoughts of Krishna, in remembering Krishna, in hearing his stories, and in serving in temple and devotees, continuously being immersed in the service of the Lord. So now, Radharani said, O Gopakumaris, to kill one demon at one point of time in the month of waxing moon, in the month of Margashirsha, in the month of Margashirsha having waning moon, at that time on 11th day, the Ekadashi Devi was born. In our Sanskrit, we say Margashirsha Krishna Paksha Ekadashi. So that Ekadashi was born and she killed the demon, and then she divided herself into 24 different forms. And those are the 24 Ekadashis in 12 months. Each month, 2 Ekadashi comes. And then there are 24 Ekadashis. And then 2 more Ekadashis are there in the Purushottam Mas. So there are total 26 Ekadashis. I will recite the names of this Ekadashi. Just a moment. Please remember that. Please remember that these names are given by Radharani. Radharani is personally describing to the gopis about the different names of Ekadashi. She says Utpanna Ekadashi, Moksha Ekadashi, Safala Ekadashi. Tomorrow's Ekadashi is called Safala Ekadashi. Putrada Ekadashi, Shat Tila Ekadashi, Jaya Ekadashi, Vijaya, Amalaki, Papa Mochani, Kamada, Varuthini, Mohini, Apara, Nirjala, Yogini, Devashayini, Kamini, Pavitra, Aja, Padma, Indira, Papankusha, Rama Ekadashi and Prabodhini Ekadashi. And 2 more Ekadashis of Purushottam Mas. Radharani is saying, please listen carefully. Even on the day of Ekadashi, that is tomorrow, even if you chant the names of these 26 Go Ekadashis, just utter the names like I uttered just now, one will receive the benefit of performing all the Ekadashi Vratas all throughout the year. That means if you perform Ekadashi Vrata of throughout the year, the benefit that you receive will also be received just by chanting these 26 names of Ekadashi. Then Radharani, I will not go into that details, but Radharani explained in each Ekadashi in detail how to perform. In short, Radharani is explaining that one should eat only lunch at 10th day, that is Dashami, the previous day of Ekadashi, then one should start fasting for the half day of 10th day, 11th full day, and till the time of the break of fast. On that day, one should stay on the floor, sleep on the floor, wear clean dress, drink only water once, and remain very pure at heart, give up sense gratification, give up the company of opposite sex, wake up early morning and take bath in the river if possible, and eat only, if possible, don't eat anything, otherwise only eat fruits or drink water. Give up all wrong activities like gambling, illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating. Offer lamb to the Lord with great devotion. Give donation to Brahmanas. Stay awake in the night and sing the glories of the Lord by kirtan or describing the pastimes of the Lord. In this way, if anybody does Ekadashi Vrata, then he will be considered to be the best of a human being. So Gopi said that, what will be the benefit of Ekadashi? So then Radharani goes on technically describing all the benefits. And she says that one who does Ekadashi, my God, I cannot describe you all the benefits. But she says that even if one is drowning in the ocean of sinful activities of past, by simply performing Ekadashi, one will be relieved of all the sinful activities. He says all the sins will shiver in fear and run away from the person who is performing Ekadashi. If you perform 1000 Ashwamedha Yagya and hundreds of Rajasuya Yagya, it cannot match the benefit of one Ekadashi. Ekadashi, one who performs Ekadashi Vrata will deliver 10 generations from his mother's side, 10 from his father's side, and 10 from his wife's side or husband's side. All these 10 generations will be delivered by performing only one Ekadashi Vrata. Meru mountain and Mandara mountain, filled with sins, will be destroyed simply by performing Ekadashi Vrata. So all these wonderful benefits of Ekadashi are personally described by Radharani to Gopis. And he said, "O Gopis, even if a little donation you give on the day of Dwadashi, after you break the fast and you give a smallest imperfect donation, whether with the rituals or without rituals, it will be considered as bigger than the Mount Meru. And on the day of Ekadashi, if anybody hears the story of Vishnu, he will get the benefit of donating the whole earth with 7 islands." So this way, Radharani went on describing, and the way Ananta is the chief of all Nagas, Garuda is the chief of all birds, Vishnu is the supreme Godhead, Brahmana is the topmost of all Varnas, and the Ashwatha tree is the best of trees, and the way Tulsi is the best of all leaves. That way, when all the Vratas, Ekadashi is the best of all Vrata. If a person performs severe austerities for 10,000 years, it will be insignificant compared to following one Ekadashi. So, oh my dear devotees, Gopis, kindly begin your Ekadashi Vrata today itself, and soon you will attain Sri Krishna. Then the Gopis asked, who are the people in the past who have performed the Ekadashi Vrata? So Radharani described about 50 people's name who performed Ekadashi and got the benefit. So like that, after hearing the glories and descriptions and number of people performing Ekadashi Vrata from the lotus mouth of Radharani, all the Gopis performed Ekadashi Vrata very, very sincerely, and Sri Krishna became very pleased with them. And at the end of at the full moon night of Margashirsha month, Krishna invited them to perform Ras Leela with them. Now, a little bit about Margashirsha month. In Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned, Masanam Margashirshoham. Amongst the months, I am the Margashirsha month. What happened is in this month? On the Ekadashi of this month, Sri Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna in the waxing moon. And on the waning moon of this month, Ekadashi Devi was born. So Ekadashi, the month of Margashirsha is not different from Sri Krishna. That is the glory of this month. So on the full moon night of this month, Sri Krishna performed Rasa Leela with these gopis who had been Yajna in the past life, in the Treta Yuga with Lord Ramchandra. The next type of gopis is called as Bhilini. Bhilini means tribal ladies. You know, when Lord Ramchandra went to perform exile in Nasik area, that Nasik area where Godavari river flows, it is called as Dandakaranya, the Dandaka forest, where Lord Ramchandra came to stay in this forest. At that time, there were many tribal ladies. They're called as Pulinda. Pulinda means the tribal ladies. These Pulinda ladies, like Shabri, was also a tribal lady. So, like those ladies were very, very attracted to Lord Ramchandra. And Lord Ramchandra was in the way, in the guise of a sadhu, in one sense, in the size of a mendicant, in the dress of a monk, performing his exile. But still, he was so attractive with his matted hair and with his tree bark that these tribal ladies, they took the dust from the feet of Lord Ram, applied on their forehead, and they were willing to commit suicide because they could not live anymore without having Lord Ram. So they went to Lord Ram and said, now we are going to perform suicide because we are not able to have you. We are really attracted by you. So Lord Ram at that time took a form of a brahmachari alone and met these ladies and said, I am now having the vrata of having only one wife, Eka Patni Vrata. So in the next life, I'll come in Dwapar Yuga as Krishna and I will fulfill all your desires. So these ladies or tribal ladies from Nasik, from Panchavati, Dandakaranya, they took birth as daughters of tribal men on the Vindhya mountains in Maharashtra. There's a huge mountain range called Vindhyachala. And there were a lot of tribal men. And these ladies took birth in the house of those tribal men. And these tribal men, their profession was stealing from rich people. They would not steal from poor people. They would steal from kings, rob them of rich people. So one time, King Vindhya got really fed up with these thieves and robbers. So he attacked these robbers, these tribal people, with full army, the king of Vindhya. And they were overpowering the tribal people. So tribal people got scared and they wrote a letter to Kamsa. And Kamsa sent Pralambasur, who was himself 16 miles long, tall in his size, was a huge personality with all the army and all the weapons. Kamsa sent him to protect the tribal men in the war between them and Vindhya mountain. So Pralambasur came and with his chivalry and power, he defeated the Vindhya mountain and brought all the tribal men to Mathura. These tribal men, they were given residence in Kamyavan, in Mathura Mandala, because Kamsa happened to be the king of all Mathura, including Vrindavan. So Pralambasur brought all the tribal men with their daughters and family, and gave shelter in Kamyavan. In Kamyavan, they started staying, and at that time, these girls, the daughters of these tribal men, who are now staying in Kamyavan, they got darshan of Krishna, because Krishna comes there to perform his coward pastimes and also performs Rasalila with gopis. Kamyavan is the second most favorite forest of Krishna amongst the 12 forests. So when they saw Krishna performing his coward pastimes, they were tremendously attracted, and they become overwhelmed with love. And then the gopis of Vrindavan, they also praised the good fortune of these tribal girls. And Sri Krishna accepted them as his own, and performed Ras Leela on the day of Sharad Purnima that we celebrate in the month of Kartik. On the day of Sharad Purnima, Sri Krishna allowed them entrance in Rasa Leela and gave them lots of pleasure. So this is our today's fourth type of gopis, called as Panchavati, tribal ladies. Then came the gopis called medicinal gopis. That means when Lord Dhanavantari appeared from the Samudra Manthana, the churning of the milk ocean, at the end of the story, Lord Dhanvantari appeared with the pot of Amruta, pot of nectar in his hand. He was Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, the medicinal incarnation of the Godhead. So Dhanvantari was so beautiful that the medicines, the herbs, they became very attracted. Now we should know that in the divine world, even the plants, trees, herbs, bushes, creepers, all are personalities. So these medicines were beautiful ladies, actually, demigoddesses. They became very, very attracted to Lord Dhanvantari, and because they felt themselves unqualified to have him as their husband, so they felt frustrated. They felt their life is a useless life without the Lord. And they performed austerities for the period of one kalpa, which is described as 43 lakhs 20,000 years. 4 million 32 320,000 years. I repeat again, 320,000 years for one full cycle of Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. So they performed austerities for such a long time. At the end of the tapasya, Sri Krishna appeared and was very pleased with them, and he said, at the end of the Dwapar Yuga of Vaivasvata Manu, you become creepers, herbs, and trees and bushes in Vrindavan Dham. So these beautiful medicines, they became trees, bushes, creepers, herbs in Shri Vrindavan Dham. And then there is a proof of that Krishna accepted them. One time Narad Muni went to Ashokavan in the Kusum Van in the middle of Govardhan. And Narad Muni was performing meditation on Sri Krishna, sitting under one Ashoka tree. And in his meditation, he saw that all the Ashoka trees, they changed their form, they became gopis, they dressed up, they decorated themselves, and they entered Ras Leela of Krishna, including the tree under which he was sitting. That tree also assumed the form of a gopi and entered Ras Leela with thousands of other gopis who turned from trees to gopis. So these creepers or herbs or the bushes or the trees, small and big, They were all these Aushadhi Gopiya, the medicinal gopis, and they enjoyed Krishna's company in conjugal mood. So this is the fifth gopi of today's description. Then we go to very special gopis called the Apsaras of the heavenly planets. On the order of Indra, they went to actually allure Nara-Narayan rishis at Himalayas. But Nara-Narayan rishis were not disturbed by any of the allurements of the Apsaras. But in turn, the Apsaras who went to allure these Nara-Narayan rishis, they themselves got too much attracted to the Supreme Lord Narayan, who was in the form of a mendicant performing his austerities at the Himalayas. And then the Narayana, the Supreme Lord, created one special Apsara called Urvashi, who was millions of times more beautiful than these Apsaras sent by Indra to allure him. So he gifted that Urvashi to Indra. In turn, these gopis became mad at the beauty of Lord Narayan. So by the blessings of Lord Narayan, these all Apsaras became gopis, and they entered Vrindavan Dham when Krishna appeared, and then danced with him in the Rasa Leela. There is another kind of gopi that is called as Sutal Loka, Sutal Kanya. What are the Sutal Kanyas? When Lord Vamanadev blessed Bali Maharaj and said that I will come to Sutal Loka and became your doorkeeper. So when Vamanadev entered Sutal Loka, the now kingdom of Bali Maharaj, the ladies of Sutal Loka became very attracted to Lord Vamanadev, looking at his beautiful demeanor. So these ladies who became attracted and bewildered, they were the daughters of the Rakshasas, Daitya Kanya. They were the daughters of demons. They became gopis by the blessings of Lord Vamanadev. And Durvasa Muni taught them how to worship Lord Sri Krishna and gave them the formula of performing worship to Yamuna, and how to please Krishna by 5 item worship, Krishna Panchanga. So at the banks of Yamuna, in the forest of Nikunja, they performed their austerities and they achieved Krishna. And these specific gopis, who were the daughters of demons in Sutal in Daitya Vamsha, they performed Jhulan Yatra with Krishna. Their specific role and acceptance by Krishna was in Jhulan Yatra. So in the beautiful Nikunja, they prepared swings on the Kadamba trees, and with silken ropes, they made the swings go to and fro, and they sat with Krishna on the swings with Radharani. First, they made them swing. Then Krishna sat with each of the gopis and also had Jhulan Yatra. So then Radharani also was enjoying with Krishna. The gopis were enjoying with Krishna in Jhulan Yatra. And Yamuna was so blissful that she was coming over and over again and again in the forest to beautify the place. And she was washing the feet of Radha and Krishna. So these gopis are called as Sutala Loka Kanya or Daitya Kanya. Then there is next group of gopis called as Jalandhari gopis. These Jalandhari gopis, they were very attracted to Krishna from the place of Jalandhar. And then the divine sound in the sky called as celestial sound, Akashvani, worship Kamalapati, the Lord Vishnu. Then you will attain Sri Krishna in Vrindavan. So they took birth in the family of Rangoji Gopa. I'm going little fast, please listen attentively. So in the area of they were living at the banks of Sapta Nadi. Rangoji Gopa had um, so much wealth that he would give tax of 100 billion gold coins to King Dhritarashtra. Every year he would offer 100 billion gold coins. One year he did not pay the tax to Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra was very angry. He arrested Rangoji Gopa, but Gopa ran away from the prison, did not offer the tax still. Then Dhritarashtra was very angry and he sent the soldiers, three Akshohini in number. One Akshohini is many lakhs of soldiers. Three Akshohini, huge, um, you know, amount of soldiers. They had big fight between the army of Rangoji Gopa and Dhritarashtra's army. Then Rangoji Gopa started getting defeated. So he surrendered to Kamsa. He requested Kamsa to help him. Then Kamsa himself came to support this Rangoji Gopa in the war with Dhritarashtra. Sitting on the Kolayapida elephant with his army, Kamsa came and he actually destroyed the army of Dhritarashtra. He really made them run away and he became victorious. So Rangoji Gopa was brought to Mathura by Kamsa and given shelter over there. When he stayed in Mathura district in Vrindavan Dham, Rangoji Gopa gave birth to these gopis, Jalandhari gopis. They took birth as gopis in the home of Rangoji Gop, who is many wives. And they got married to the cowherd men in Vrindavan, but still their conjugal love was for actually Krishna. Then Sri Krishna, looking at their heart and their previous lifetimes tapasya, he accepted them and performed Ras Lila with them. Now the last there are many more gopis, I am not able to tell, but there were friends of Lakshmi who got attracted to her husband Vishnu. They are called as Lakshmi Sakhis. Some of them were from Rama Vaikuntha. Some of them were from the friends of Lakshmi who came from ocean. Some of them were Ajita Padavasini gopis. Some of them were residents of Urdo Vaikuntha Loka. Some of them were residents of Lokachala mountain. All these different kinds of Lakshmi's friends, they were completely immersed in the meditation of Govinda. They also performed Magha Masa Vrata and they pleased Sri Krishna. Then at the Vasant Panchami day, Sri Krishna offered himself to them. What he did, these gopis were the friends of Lakshmi Devi in different kinds of Vaikunthas. They performed Vrata and pleased Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna tested them. On the day of Vasant Panchami, Lord came as yogi to Barsana, accepting the skin of tiger and matted hair and applying the ash all over the body. He came to Barsana acting as if he was a big mendicant yogi. He said, my name is Swayam Prakash, self-effulgent personality. I don't eat or drink. I just breathe and live. I am having knowledge of past, present and future. I know mantra vidya. I know extortion. I know black magic. I know how to attract people. And I know so many tantric vidyas. So Gopi said, if you know so many things, you know past, present and future, you can read the mind. Can you tell who is in our mind? Whom do we worship and whom do we love? So Yogi closed his eyes and said, if I tell you who is he, you will all be embarrassed. In fact, the name of the person in your heart is a confidential matter. You want me to tell the name of the person? The gopis felt very shy and they said, no, 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 no. But they said that if you are real yogi, then you make that person appear here who is in our heart. Then we will believe that you are a great yogi. So then the yogi, Krishna, one who has come in the form of a yogi, he said, close your eyes. And then they closed their eyes. Then Krishna removed his disguise and appeared in front of them. So these gopis who were the friends of Lakshmi, they danced with Sri Krishna in the month of Magha. The next month of Marga Shirsha, Pausha and Magha, they performed Rastila. Then last thing I would like to describe is the gopis that Balramji had. They were the Naga Kanyas because Ananta Shesha would reside in Patala Loka. So in Patala Loka, under the ocean, the Naga Kanyas, these snake ladies, they were very attracted to the Ananta Shesha. So they all came as gopis of Balramji and they performed, they met Gargamuni and Gargamuni taught them the five-faceted process of attracting Balramji. That is called as Balram Kavacha, Balram Stotra, Balram Sahasranam, Balram Patala, and Balram Paddhati. This Panchanga Vrat of Balabhadra, Gargacharya taught them, and because of that, these Nagakanyas became gopis of Balramji. And when Balramji came with the message of Krishna in the month of Chaitra and Vaishakha, at that time, Balram performed Rasila with these Nagakanyas, and the pastime of the pulling of the river Yamuna took place at Ramaghat. And at that time, Yamuna Devi appeared out of humility and offered blue clothes and blue ornaments to all these Nagakanyas, led by the chief Nagakanya, whose name was Rohini, who was the chief of the Nagakanyas. She also appeared as Revati, who married with Balramji. So this Revati was the incarnation of Jyotishmati. Jyotishmati was the uh, great goddess of fortune in divine abodes, and she worshipped Balramji and accepted him as husband. And all these Nagakanyas became gopis of Balram. There are many more gopis still, but there is one kind of gopis. They actually took birth in Vrindavan Dham and they played Holi with Krishna. One group of gopis, they played Jhulan Yatra. One group of gopis, they performed Holi with Krishna, the color festival, and they enjoyed with Krishna. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Babaji, for this wonderful pastime. Dear devotees, we believe that we all have been enjoying this so richly. But in case anyone may have questions or some comments, reflections to make, please indicate by using the hand emoji and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question or share your reflections. Hare Krishna. Babuji, I have one quick question about
Please.
the servants of, the servants of Mother Lakshmi that eventually became gopis. I had heard that there was a pastime where Mother Lakshmi wanted to become a gopi. And because of how rich she is, she lives like a very plump life. The gopis live a very simple life. And so it was not so easy for her to act like a gopi. So I'm wondering, how did her associate then become gopis?
Very simple. Very simple. The answer is in your question only. Because
Okay.
these gopis, these ladies were friends of Lakshmi's. They were very humble. They were down to earth. They could have done anything for Krishna. So they became very simple. They took birth in the house of the Gopas, and they herd the cows, and they cleaned the cows, and they collected the cow dung, and they did everything what the Gopi would do. They didn't have any problem of any position or power or opulence. Lakshmi ji came to enter Rasalila, giving up the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha. When the Gopis told them to become Gopi, told her to become Gopi and do the coward activities. But she said, I cannot do all these things. So then they said, you cannot enter. So she thought she'll perform austerities and qualify. And she went to Belvan and performed austerities, but she did not get qualified. It is said till today she is standing in Belvan performing austerities. It is not that she was not humble, but the lesson that she is trying to teach us, and Lord Krishna is trying to teach us through her, is that with the Aishwarya Bhava or with the wealth or opulence, one cannot become a gopi. The gopi means most humble lady, most subservient lady, loving lady, dedicated lady to Krishna. So we cannot go to Krishna with our Aishwarya Bhava. Huh? We have to give up all the Aishwarya to attain Krishna's feet. So she could not attain only because she was unable to come down from the position of the goddess of fortune. That's why it is said that the gopi, even the smallest and youngest of all gopi, is much more than the highest of all ladies in Vaikuntha. The smallest of all gopi in Goloka or in Vrindavan is higher than the topmost lady of that is Lakshmi in Vaikuntha.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing this. From which I had heard from a couple of devotees that, uh, sorry, what happened? Okay, let me do this. Okay, I had heard from some devotees that all the gopis are actually functions of Radharani herself, that no Jiva Atma could become a gopi, but it looks like that is not the case from these pastimes we
Now, it is
learn.
not true that a
Yeah,
Jivatma can't become gopi.
yeah.
There are three kinds of perfected living beings. One is Nitya Siddha,
Mm,
that is Radharani, Ashtasakis, and the eternal gopis like Yashoda, or the people like Nanda Maharaj and the coward boys, Ashtasakhas. They all are Nitya Siddha. Then there is a group of people who are perfected souls called as Kripa Siddha. They become the perfected living beings by the power of mercy of the Nitya Siddhas. By the blessings of Krishna, Radharani, or Gada Gopis, they can become gopis or Brajvasis. And there are some people called as Sadhana Siddhas. So Sadhana Siddhas are like you and me. We are also performing sadhana, doing austerities, following rules and regulations. And when we perfect our sadhana, we can we can become a gopi or a gopa or a tree or a cow or a creeper or anything. So it is not that the living entities who are the part and parcel of Krishna, they cannot become gopa or gopi. They can become gopa or gopi. But they cannot match with Radharani or Ashtasakis. They always remain under them.
mm,
Under their guidance, they keep serving Krishna. They cannot take their positions because the positions of Radharani and Ashtasakis and Ashtasakhas and Yashoda Nanda Maharaj are eternal. They are the eternal associates of eternally perfected souls.
mm, mm. In my conditional state of consciousness, I'm wondering how I could live in a place like Vrindavan, knowing that the the trees, the grass, the bushes, they are all personalities, like how they came from the pot of Sri Dhanvantari.
Mm.
And if you know these things, how do you cut down a tree? How do you cut down? I don't know. I don't know how people live in Vrindavan. But
You can't do that.
yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult. Wow.
Vrindavan life is, it's not a physical life. Vrindavan life in Vrindavan is quite esoteric, quite subtle, quite elevated, quite transcendental. It's a matter of, Vrindavan life is matter of consciousness. The highest consciousness, when you achieve, that is a life in Vrindavan. So when we achieve the transcendental consciousness, then wherever we are, that becomes Vrindavan. Because Vrindavan is not a place, technically it is the state of consciousness.
Wow.
Okay, so we'll take your leave. Thank you so much. Hari
Oh,
bol.
I think there is one hand
One
up.
question, one question.
Harinam Kirtan?
My friend Harinaam Kirtan.
Yes.
No, Prabhu. I'm very lowly servant of yours, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, one small question, and thank you so much for beautiful class. So I have heard that the trees in Golok Vrindavan or the stone, which rasa they fall under? Is it Shanta rasa or
Shantarasa.
Das
Shantarasa.
Shanta rasa? Because sometimes, like when Krishna and his Gopas are walking, they bend down to serve Krishna. So I just don't. Sometimes they say it's a mixed of both, or generally we
There
don't
are two
hear too much.
rasas. There are two rasas. One is that they are gopis, Aushadhi gopis, you can say. And they are in
Okay.
conjugal mood. Daytime they are trees and nighttime they are gopis. That
Oh,
is
really?
Bhava. And second is the trees have got different understanding. One is some trees are Radharani expansions.
Hmm.
Some trees are wish fulfilling kalpavrikshas
Mm-hmm.
from Vaikuntha. Some are gopis and some are rishis who are performing tapasya in the form of trees in Vrindavan, like Pandavas. They are worshipping at the banks of Shamkund and Govardhan. They came in the dream of Raghunath Das Goswami and told them, don't cut us because we are five brothers worshipping in the form of tree. So it is well known in scriptures that the realized souls, they desire to become trees or plants or bushes. Even Lord Brahma in his prayers, he is praying to Lord Krishna, let me become a bush in Vrindavan. Let me become a stone, pavement stone in Vrindavan. Let me become a grass in Vrindavan. Let me, any birth, I can even become bush. I can become blade of grass. I can become a pavement stone. So trees can be Radharani herself. Trees can be gopis. Trees can be rishis or the saintly people worshipping. Or trees can be kalpavrikshas. And some of the trees which are winner, they are also serving Krishna. They bend down, offer dandavat to Krishna. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered Vrindavan, the trees were offering dandavat pranam. It's well known. The trees were bending down with the fruits to offer their fruits. When Krishna was entering Talvan, the trees were bowing down to Krishna and Balram both, with the branches studded with fruits. So they also serve in Shantaras to please and assist. The trees also provide their branches to hang on the julas, the swings in the Julan Yatra. The trees also cover the forest to make kunja into nikunja, into private area to perform Rasa Leela. So trees under the guidance of Vrunda Devi and under the guidance of Chitra Sakhi, they do lots of unimaginable services to Radha and Krishna to perform their pastimes. Hari Bol.
Prabhuji, still they fall under Shanta rasa. They do so much service.
I told you, that they are in different rasas. I just now explained to you. They are
Okay.
not only in Shantarasa. They do services. So they are in Dasya Rasa also. They are in
Okay.
Shantaras also. They are in conjugal Rasa also. They are saintly also. They are Radharani
Uh,
also.
okay. That's a really nice
Spiritual life
understanding.
is not monotonous.
Yeah.
Spiritual world is not stereotyped. It's full of variety. Nothing is constant. Everything is just beautifully active and beautifully vibrant and transcendental. Okay,
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
so we will
Understood.
end our discussion here. In jest, I want to tell you that I took up this topic for only one reason, to make all of us understand that the gopis is a very wonderful topic. It's a very most variegated topic, most variegated pastimes, most variegated personalities, most variegated services that they do, and most exemplary personalities in the pastimes of Lord Krishna are the gopis. And generally, we may think that gopis are of one type. No, there are at least 20 types of gopis which I am describing to you. And there are many, many, many more types of gopis of more different kinds of moods and different kind of services. They are called as sahacharis, they are called as kinkaris, and they are called as sakhis, they are called as parameshti sakhis. There are various types of gopis, and they do various kinds of services under the guidance of Vrinda Devi, under the guidance of Lalita and Vishaka and Radharani. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.